Dear children, this is your father speaking. I know it's going to be a few more years before you start driving a vehicle on your own, but I just wanted to remind you that there are far worse things that can happen besides a car accident. What are they? Well, for one, there are very, very, very bad people in the world. Very bad people. I know I've taught and trained you a million times on what to do in the event that you are kidnapped at gunpoint and you are behind the steering wheel. Number one, I need you to step on that gas pedal and ram into the car in front of you. If there's no car in front of you, I need you to ram the truck into the middle of a busy intersection and ram into any car that you see. Ram into a 7-Eleven, ram into a gas station, as long as you create a big commotion. Such a commotion that the kidnapper is not going to want to be there. He's going to get out of the truck and run off. Number two, if you are not behind the steering wheel, if he is behind the steering wheel and you are in the front passenger seat or you are in the middle row, just remember, I've hidden weapons at every single armrest inside that truck. Use the weapon. Take him down. Fight for your life. After you feel that he's down, stab him another 50 times. If he stumbles out of the truck, do not get out of the truck and run off. He will go after you. Instead, lock the car door. After you lock the car door, go after the gun. You know where that gun is hidden. It's loaded. Use it. Take him down. Number three, if you can, and if you're stuck in the front passenger seat or the middle row seat, if you can, find a way to run back to the back cargo area. You know where that button is. There's a button that will open up the hatch for you to escape. If you are speeding and there's no way to jump out of the vehicle, at least opening up that hatch will create some attention to the car in back of you. You can wave for help, okay? Once the truck slows down, you have the opportunity to jump out and run off. But wait, the GX460 doesn't open the hatch from the inside. Or does it? Let's get to work, guys. You're going to need some wire cutters, wire strippers. You're going to need a crimper. Small set of pliers, 10mm socket and ratchet, a regular Phillips screwdriver. You might need a panel removal tool. Some of your panels are a little tighter than others. You're going to need a razor blade or a box cutter. You're going to need a unibit, preferably the one that goes up to 5/8 in diameter if you are going to buy the button that I recommended. That button is going to be provided to you in a link. If you click on my title, and a drop down will appear, and it will give you a link on the Amazon page that I bought that button on, okay? But any button will work. Any normally open button will work, okay? You're going to need small gauge wires, preferably at least 2 feet long of about 18 gauge or thinner. Okay, so 2 feet of small gauge wire. And you're going to need 1 or 2 zip ties to clean up your wiring. And that is about it. Let's get started. Ooh, I forgot. You're going to need a motor drill right here in order to hook up this unibit, okay? That's how you're going to create your hole. First things first, you're going to have to open up these compartments and remove them. Let's set them aside. You have a 10mm right here that we're going to have to remove. Follow me into this cavity right here. Want to go ahead and lift up this little tiny cover right here. There's a little Phillips screw behind there. Grab your Phillips screwdriver and remove that screw. This panel right here just pops out towards you. Same thing with these panels. Go ahead and remove them. Pops towards you. There's a black trim right here. It comes right off. Remove that. Now this whole entire plastic trim right here comes off in one piece. All you have to do is just try to find an opening underneath here somewhere and just start popping the clips outward, just like this. There you go. Just go ahead and set it aside. Now we are going to peel back this blue cover right here. All we need is peel back this portion right here. So instead of creating a really messy job, you're going to grab a set of razor blades and just peel slowly and just start cutting away. Try not to make a mess. It's really tar-like. Try not to get it on your clothes because it will not come off. Speaking from experience. There you go. Do not get it on your jeans. I made that mistake. Okay. Just remember, do not get this black tar on your clothes. The wire that we're going to focus on is this plug right here. These two wires right here, this plug. You can either use this side or this side to peel back, okay? I am going to choose this side right here. I'm going to take my cutters and cut away so the wires are exposed. Cut away the split loom right here. Maybe about 2 inches worth. I'm going to leave it hanging. I'm not going to cut it off, leave it hanging because we're going to reuse it to cover back up the wires. I'm going to separate these two wires because these two wires, in order for your hatch to work, these two wires need to be touching each other, and that's where the switch comes in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our wire stripper and we're going to peel back the shielding of each wire so the copper wire inside is exposed. Okay, now I'm going to take my 3M T-taps and I'm going to tap it into each wire here, close it up, and take my pliers and clamp down on it until it locks into place. There you go. Now we're going to run these wires straight to where we want the switch to be. Okay, the switch location is really up to you guys. All you have to do is find the perfect spot on your trim panel itself where it has space on the back where it's not going to make contact with the switch, okay? I found many places that I'd like to put the switch on, but ideally I want the switch to be totally accessible to anybody that's going to be using it immediately. So I don't want the switch behind my doors or covers or anything, and I don't want the switch too hidden where, you know, people are going to have to look for it in the dark. I want the switch exposed for the people that are going to be using that switch. So I'm going to put the switch right here in this corner. So if I were to put this trim panel back up here, the switch would be right here. There's a lot of space right behind here. Okay, I counted about maybe 2.5 inches of space behind there where our switch, the back of our switch, is not going to be touching any part of the structure. So you could put the switch anywhere right here. Trust me, you could even keep it hidden behind your tailgate covers if you want, or you could put it right here in the middle or right here inside this cavity if you want to. So it's really up to you. So the reason why I say this now is because we're going to be cutting the length of the wires right now. You can go ahead and take your small gauge wires and you're going to cut it to length, and from my T-taps right here to my switch is only going to be about 1 foot long, but I like a lot of slack just in case. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut about 2 feet worth of wire. Okay, 2 feet worth of wire, and I'm going to go ahead and put my male connectors to one end. I'm going to take the end of my wires, I'm going to split it in half. Just like this, you're going to turn into 2 wires. I'm going to strip off the ends of it. And see how the copper wire is all frayed? I'm going to go ahead and twirl it so it becomes a little more tight and robust here. so it could fit easily into the male connectors. I'm going to take one end and shoot it through the male connector right here. Slide the copper wire all the way until it's totally shielded. I'm going to take my crimpers right here and crimp down on it. Do the pull test to make sure it won't come loose on you. Now do the same thing for the other side. There you go. I got 2 male connectors ready to attach to the 3M T-taps. I'm going to take my speaker wires, male connectors, I'm going to go ahead and plug it into these T-taps. Now the other end of the wire is going to go into these 2 slots on the switch itself. One end of the wire is going to go into this slot. It's controlled by a little Phillips screw that loosens, and there's another slot right here on this side, okay? And this button is what connects those 2 wires together. Let's go ahead and take the wires and let's go ahead and split them to make them into 2 separate wires. And let's leave them ready, just like this. Leave it dangling. Now I'm going to take my power motor here and stick my unibit on it. I already measured the diameter of my switch and I know it's going to be a 5/8 hole. Depending on what type of switch you guys buy, you guys could buy the same switch as me or get your own switch. Just make sure you do your measurements beforehand, because once you make that hole, there's no turning back. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a 5/8 diameter hole. And this is the spot that I've chosen to go ahead and drill. You can go ahead and use a Sharpie and make your mark if you're not too sure about yourself. But I already know exactly where I'm going to be drilling, so follow me. When you drill, make sure it's on a flat plane and not on a contour, because your switch is flat. Okay, so I found a really nice place right here. I'm going to go a little at a time just to make sure. I'm going 5/8. There you go. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and take this to the vehicle. Now we can go ahead and put our backing screw on there. I'm going to go ahead and do it by hand, guys. No need to use any socketer tools, because I did make the hole a lot smaller than what this switch was intended for, just so it'd be a super tight fit. So I'm going to go ahead and snug it in by hand, and we are good. I'm going to take the ends of the wire here. I'm going to take off the shielding. Go ahead and twirl them up so it would fit right through the slot easier. Now we're going to get a Phillips screwdriver and loosen these guys up a little bit here. That's enough. So now I'm going to go ahead and slide these wires through the slots in here and tighten up the Phillips. Perfect. So now next step, any smart installer will tell you to always test your installation to make sure everything works before you put everything back together again, okay? But in this case, we're not able to make it work unless the tailgate is closed. We can't close the tailgate because everything's apart and this is just dangling in midair. So what we're gonna have to do is hold our door pin down here to mimic the tailgate being closed in order for that button to operate. So let's go ahead and push in the door pin and operate this. Do you hear that? Let's go ahead and take a closer look for you guys. This is me operating the button. Bingo! So now the last phase of our installation is we're going to have to clean up our wiring, right? We're not going to want these wires to dangle because we don't know what it's going to get caught on while the vehicle's moving. So we're going to probably want to use some zip ties to zip these up and clean it up a little bit. Remember this loom that we kind of pulled back and cut apart? So we're going to go ahead and cut this to size. Take that portion out. Put the leftover wires back in the loom. We're good to go. I'm going to, since my button's going to be all the way up here, I'm going to zip tie my wires up here along with it. Keep it out of the way. Okay, now remember that black fungus tar looking thing? Make sure it doesn't get on your clothes. We're gonna slap it back on the structure. Do not get it on your t-shirt or you can kiss your t-shirt goodbye. Okay, make sure it's not on your hands or anything because you will be touching your carpet and your panels. Now I'm gonna carefully put my trim panel back on. Go ahead and take a look at your slack to make sure if it doesn't need any more zip tying. I think we're good to go. And all you have to do is just snap everything back. Make sure no wires are pinched when you put everything back. Our door panel clip almost hitting the wires here, so move it out of the way. We're good. Always double check your installation, guys. Okay? And I always do this, folks. Even though I already double checked my work, after this panel goes on, I'm gonna triple check it by operating this button one more time before I throw on everything else. Beautiful. So we can go ahead and put the screws back on. Remember this 10 millimeter? I always do this by hand, guys. The last thing I want to do is strip any bolts. Okay, hand snug. You don't want to go crazy with that. It is plastic. And remember, this screw all the way up here, you're going to want to screw this Phillips back up here. And I always recommend doing stuff like this by hand because the insert that connects to this Phillips is plastic. You do not want to strip it. Okay, we're good. And we're gonna go ahead and put back these doors. Be honest, guys, how many of you thought I was gonna throw some adult toys and stuff on here when I was about to open it, and then you were pretty shocked when you found out that there was nothing? I know you guys, man. Come on, man. We're too old for that bullshit, man. We're too old. We got children. We got a reputation to uphold at work. We got to set a good example. We can't be throwing that kind of stuff out into the internet because that internet never goes away, man. Whatever you put on the internet, it never goes away. So you guys got to behave. That's why all my videos are professional now. I don't do any more bullshit. Too afraid to. I might get fired. I think that's probably worst case scenario. My boss is a subscriber and watches this and says, what the hell? We hired the wrong person to do this. This guy is just fucking insane. No, I can't have that, guys. So, no more silly adult toys in my videos. Okay? Right, let's go ahead and throw some more stuff back on here. These things right here drive me nuts because these things right here have these little clips, plastic clips, and they do fall inside these slots. And it's happened to me many, many times, folks. Hate it. Okay. The good thing about Toyota and Lexus, everything's just plastic and user-friendly, install-friendly. Look at this. Very install-friendly. All plastic. One last thing, guys. Remember this plastic trim that goes right here where your lock hinge is? Very simple. It just snaps in. I really don't need to show you guys this, right? Jesus, you know what? I got some dumb fucks out there will probably ask me, how do you install that? So let me just show you anyways. Plastic goes right in here. You got about 4 inserts right here that just snaps right into place. Bam! Beautiful. So let's go ahead and close everything, folks. Make sure nothing's loose. Let's go ahead and close this. Make sure our factory OEM button still works after you put any aftermarket crap on your vehicle. You always want to check your OEM. You don't know if you burnt out something. Okay, so always check. Beautiful. Second time. Beautiful. Let me show you what the button looks from the inside. Beautiful. All right.